Once upon a time, in the land of Ebodan, a village in Abani, there lived a warrior named Eringa. Eringa was the pride of the community. He always wins every wrestling match he contested in, and this has made his name a household name in the community. And because of him, every neighboring community shies away from wrestling with him. Eringa got married to a beautiful maiden named Akweke, and in the process of time, they had a daughter and called her Eringa. Eringa and his wife kept trying to have a male child who will carry on with his legacy, but luck was not on their side. He consulted many native doctors and seers who told him the gods did not wish for his family to continue being famous after him. Eringa accepted this fate and decided to quit wrestling and focus on loving his wife and raising his daughter. Few years later, Eringa died and was given a warrior's burial. The whole village wept. Akweke was left to cater for their daughter, Eringa, alone. It happened that after the death of Eringa, people randomly started troubling Akweke, most especially men from their kindred, trying to steal her husband's properties because she has no male child. This made Akweke to spend most of her nights in tears and blaming her fate for the death of her husband. As all this was happening, Eringa, who was just 12 years old, was observing it all, and it made her boil in anger. One day, Eringa went to one of her father's land to fetch firewood, and a troublesome man named Mr. Obasi came to pursue her from the land. Eringa, who has been angry with him for some time now, tried to warn him to stay off the land, but Mr. Obasi was adamant. Before he could know it, Eringa, the 12-year-old girl, lifted him up, threw him on the ground, and beat him up mercilessly. Mr. Obasi went home in shame and started minding his business. Eringa, who was overjoyed by her newfound strength, went home and told her mother what happened. But her mother freaked out and warned her never to allow anyone hear about her powers. She was afraid that no one will marry her. Few years later, when Eringa was 18 years old, Akweke had advanced in age and fallen sick. Eringa began taking up odd jobs that is not suitable for a lady. She also enlisted in wrestling and started representing her community in matches, just like her father. Soon, her valor became a sensation for the whole community and those around. But Akweke's sickness got worse. She was worried that Eringa would not get married before she dies. Hence, she called her into her chambers and told her that she needs to carry her grandchild, else she will die before her time. Eringa's love for her mother kept her worried all night, as she decided to seek counsel from her friend, Uloma. Uloma has been her only friend since childhood. Uloma agreed to help her get a husband. Few days later, Uloma traveled to a distant community named Obenta, her mother's village. There lived one of her cousins who is a farmer. His name was Lebowa. Lebowa is a fine-looking young man, but he is not physically strong. Uloma discussed with him about Eringa, and he got interested and decided to come and see her. When Lebowa and Eringa saw each other, they both fell in love and decided to get married immediately. They went to Akweke, who gave them her blessings happily, and Lebowa went home to make arrangements with his family to come and pay Eringa's bride price. Few market days later, he returned with his kinsmen and the traditional wedding was done. Lebowa decided to stay back at Eringa's village, since they have a lot of landed properties where he can be farming. As years went by, Lebowa and Eringa had 2 children, a boy and a girl, named Chukwode and Adako, and they kept on living happily. A day came and the king of their community, Ezomenka I of Eboda, announced a wrestling contest to commemorate his Opera festival. The winner will be rewarded with 20 bags of silver and a mansion at the choicest place in the community. And the instruction is that every family in the community should bring out a representative for a wrestling tournament. Lebowa became worried because he is not physically fit. On the day of the wrestling, Lebowa was paired with a very tall and strong warrior whose name was Dikogo. On seeing the warrior, Lebowa fainted even before the fight began. Eringa decided to jump in and defend her family. She took the stage and decided to fight Dikogo. On seeing her, Dikogo laughed out, thinking that she is just a mere woman. The match started, and before everyone could realize it, Eringa uprooted Dikogo and threw him on the ground. The whole village was amazed and cheered her on. The wrestling match continued until Eringa was qualified for the finals. The king and his elders in council decided to spice up the entertainment. The king declared that for the last match, Eringa will have to fight against her husband. On the day of the final, the whole community gathered. People from the neighboring community even gathered. Some came to watch Eringa make a public spectacle of her husband. The match started and Eringa was introduced, followed by her husband, Lebowa. When the match finally started and people were expecting Eringa to lift him up as she does to other warriors since the beginning of the match. But before anyone could realize what was happening, Lebowa lifted Eringa and threw her to the ground. The whole community was baffled at how Eringa the strong warrior was defeated by a man of weak strength. But the wise king in his final address applauded Eringa and said to his people, "Indeed, a woman is the crown of her husband." Tell me what you have learned from this story in the comment section. Subscribe and hit on the notification button so you will get notified when we post the next stories. See you next time.